The fire is crackling gently now. You've brushed your teeth, turned off the lights, and settled into a bed that feels warm, safe, and ancient. Let your eyes soften, let your breath slow, and listen closely because tonight you're going somewhere far away, somewhere wild, somewhere cold. Tonight, you're not in a city. You're not in your room. You're not even in this century. You're deep in the north, the true north, where the sun vanishes for months and wolves cry into the trees. You're in a world of pine forests and fjords, sea spray and blood, fur and fire. And you are not an ordinary person here. You are something else, feared, revered. You are a Viking berserker, a warrior so fierce, so overcome by rage and devotion to the gods, that even your comrades are afraid to stand beside you. The year is somewhere in the ninth century. There are no phones, no roads, no clocks, only wind, wool, and war. You're about to wake up in a longhouse on a bed of straw and reindeer hide. The air smells like smoke and sweat, your beard itches. And somewhere in the distance, a war horn is calling. But for now, just breathe. Let your limbs get heavy. Let the tension leave your chest. There's no need to rush into the fight. You'll get there soon. You're a part of something ancient now. The sagas will remember you. But first, let's begin. You awaken slowly, not to the buzz of an alarm, but to the creak of wooden beams above your head. It's still dark. Just the faintest gray light slipping through the thatch. Your breath rises in soft clouds. The air bites cold, raw, real. Your body aches, muscles stiff, joints worn. You're not used to sleeping on straw and hide, but this is your bed now. A low wooden frame, packed with hay and draped in animal skins. It smells like wool, smoke, and old sweat. The scent of survival. All around you, other men are stirring, grunting, coughing. Their breath fogs the air like steam rising from a battle-worn sword. You hear the soft clink of metal someone's putting on a belt. Another is sharpening a blade with a slow, rasping motion. You sit up. Your furs shift around your shoulders. A heavy wool tunic, leather trousers stiff with salt and age, boots lined with sheepskin. There's a wooden shield resting beside you, scarred and scratched from past raids. And your axe, your most precious tool, leans by the door, its edge dark with the iron blood of memory. The longhouse is dim, smoky, and close. A central fire still glows, reduced to orange embers. It smolders in a stone-lined pit, surrounded by soot-darkened beams and iron cauldrons. A pot of porridge simmers there now oats, goat's milk, and dried berries. You hear it bubble softly. Smell the earthy, comforting scent. And for a moment, you feel a kind of peace, but not for long. Someone calls your name, roughly. In Old Norse, sharp as the crack of ice splitting on the fjord. You're needed. It's time to rise, to eat, to sharpen, to prepare for whatever awaits beyond the fjord, beyond the mist, beyond the edge of the known world. You swing your legs over the side of the bed, cold floor beneath your bare solace. A gust of wind rattles the wood walls. Somewhere far off, you hear a raven call. And so begins your day. As a Viking berserker, your heart beats harder now. You feel it like a war drum echoing inside your ribs, not just from rising or from the cold, but from something else. Something ancient, primal, deep. This is what it means to be a berserker, not simply a warrior. Not merely a raider, but one of Odin's chosen madmen. A man who casts off fear like a worn-out cloak, who slips into battle like a wolf into bloodied snow. As you stand by the hearth, lifting a crude wooden bowl of porridge to your lips, you feel your body, hardened by training, scarred by raids, burned by ice and salt and sun. Your arms are thick, your hands rough. Your fingernails are cracked and blackened. There's a dull ache in your shoulder where an axe once bit through mail. You remember the wound, but not the pain. Berserkers do not fear pain. You eat quickly, The porridge is warm, sticky, comforting. But your mind is already drifting, already tasting iron and ash. The trance comes slowly at first. A tightening in the chest, a heat in the skull. Your breathing becomes deeper, rhythmic. They say berserkers fight in a frenzy, but it isn't madness, not exactly. It's a state, a trance, a shedding of the self. You remember entering it before, on the battlefield near Lindisfarne, when arrows fell like rain. In the woods of Francia, when a warhorse crashed into your shield. You remember the heat in your veins, the clarity, the strength. Like your muscles had been replaced with iron cables. Like your eyes could see the path of every blade. Today, there may be no battle. But you feel it coming. The call, the pressure in your chest. Like thunder behind your ribs. Someone throws a bearskin over your shoulders. Heavy, coarse, warm. The pelt of a creature you once tore down with axe and bloodied hands. Now, you wear its fury. Now, you carry its spirit into the world. And somewhere deep within you, the berserker stirs. You step outside the longhouse. The cold hits you like a wall, sharp, clean, and unrelenting, but you do not flinch. The air smells of salt and smoke. And in the distance, a low mist curls off the fjord like a sleeping beast stirring in its den. Beneath your bare feet, frost crunches on the packed earth. You walk toward the shoreline, wrapped in that heavy bearskin cloak, its rough fur clinging to your back like a second hide. The water is still, for now, but you can hear it breathing, the slow lap of waves against ancient barnacled stones. Long ships rest in the harbor like wolves curled at the feet of their masters, carved prows raised, sails furled, oars glistening with last night's dew. Other warriors move around you quietly. No one shouts. No one rushes. This is not the time for noise. This is the hour when the gods listen. Some sharpen blades. Some offer quiet prayers to Odin or Frey. One man stands waist deep in the freezing water, eyes closed, arms spread. His breath rises like steam from his skin. Nearby, a boy leads a shaggy horse to drink. The beast snorts, stamping the cold mud. Its eyes catch the light like polished jet. Everything here feels old. Not in a ruined way, but in the way of mountains and oak trees. Timeless. Watching. Waiting. You reach the water's edge and kneel. The surface is black glass. You stare into your reflection. Your face is rough, wind-chapped. Your beard is matted. Your eyes look like someone who has seen too many winters and yet still hungers for more. You scoop the water into your hands. It bites at your skin, shocking you awake, not just your body, but your mind. You whisper something under your breath, a name, a vow, something lost. Then you rise. Because today, the fjord may carry you to distant lands or into the jaws of death, and either would be fine. Before a berserker is let loose on the battlefield, he must train not just the body, but the mind, and in your case, both are already aflame. You stand in the center of a muddy clearing behind the longhouse, surrounded by wooden stumps, smashed shields, and the bones of old battles. The morning mist still clings to the edges of the world, and ravens perch in the leafless branches above, watching you as if they already smell blood. The trainer steps forward, not a man of kind words, but of scars. His face looks like it's been carved from driftwood. His arm is missing 2 fingers. His voice is quiet, yet somehow louder than the wind. He tosses you a wooden sword. It lands in your hand like it belongs there. You don't speak, you don't nod, you simply move. And suddenly, the world narrows to motion and muscle. You swing. He blocks, you pivot. He steps inside your guard and strikes your ribs with the flat of his blade. Hard. Pain blooms. But you do not stop. You lash out again, again, again. Around you, others are training. Some lift stones heavier than a man. Some wrestle in the mud, grappling until breath is knocked from their lungs. Others chant in low, guttural tones, warrior songs passed down through smoke and blood, meant to wake the animal that lives behind the eyes. The rhythm of it becomes trance-like, steel ringing against wood, grunts, the hiss of breath, the caw of ravens, the sound of leather boots churning wet earth. And then the trainer stops. He looks into your eyes. Something flickers there, approval maybe, or caution. He doesn't say a word. Instead, he nods toward the woods. It's time to hunt. Not animals, yourself. Night falls like a heavy pelt over the village, and silence stretches long, broken only by the crackle of the great bonfire rising in the sacred grove beyond the palisade. Tonight is not about battle. It is about becoming something else. Something feared. You walk barefoot over cold earth, wrapped in a wolfskin cloak that smells of smoke and dried blood. Behind you, other initiates walk too, each with haunted eyes, each wrapped in animal pelts. Bear, boar, wolf, their breath visible in the cold night air, slow and shallow, like beasts preparing for slaughter. You enter the grove. Firelight paints the trees gold and orange, their long shadows twitching on the ground like spirits dancing. The elders stand in a ring. Their faces are streaked with ash and ochre. Their eyes shimmer in the firelight, unblinking. They begin to chant, low, pulsing, ancient. A sound so old, it feels more like memory than music. Their voices vibrate through your bones. The drums begin. No rhythm, no melody, just a pounding that echoes the thud of your own heart. You kneel. A bowl is passed, thick, bitter liquid. Herbs, mushrooms, blood. You drink. It burns like fire and ice at once. And then the world bends. The trees blur. The sky spins. The stars scream silently overhead. You are no longer a man. You are no longer even you. Something rises in your gut. Not rage exactly, but a wildness, a presence, like an animal waking up in the pit of your stomach, stretching its claws. Your muscles tighten. Your breath becomes ragged. You smell everything, smoke, sweat, earth, fear. You hear everything, the crack of wood in the fire, the drum beats beneath your heartbeat, the distant howl of wolves joining your transformation. And then you scream, not a scream of fear. Not even pain, a scream of becoming. You tear off the wolf skin and beat your chest, falling into the dirt, howling to the sky. You are no longer a man. You are the beast. You are Berserker. The forest is still in the blue-gray hush before sunrise. Mist clings to the earth like breath from sleeping giants. In the silence, your heart pounds loud, not from fear, but from the aftershocks of the ritual. Your limbs still tremble from the fury awakened within. Your axe feels different in your hands now. Heavier, hungrier. The edge gleams dully in the dim morning light. Beside you, other berserkers crouch low, cloaked in pelts, smeared with ash, silent. No armor, no shields, just skin, blood, and fury. Down the slope lies a Saxon village, distant smoke curling above thatched roofs, unaware of the storm hiding in the woods. The war chief raises his arm, no horn sounds. No shouted orders, just a silent signal, a clenched fist open like a flower. You run, bare feet pounding against earth, your breath white in the cold air. Every movement is a surge of heat. You don't feel the rocks beneath you or the branches that scratch your arms. You're beyond pain now. You burst into the clearing like a wildfire. Screams erupt, villagers scrambling from huts, clutching spears and pitchforks, but you're faster. Your axe swings with a terrible grace. You barely feel the resistance as it bites into flesh. The red mist rises again, but this time not in your mind. It's real, warm, spraying across your chest as you howl into the sky. They try to fight back, but they are slow, terrified, soft. You catch glimpses of your brothers in the chaos. One leaps from a rooftop, landing on a warrior and crushing him into the dirt. Another charges barehanded, tackling two men into the fire pit. The fury has taken you all. A man stabs you in the side, a long blade, clean and sharp. You look down and laugh. Blood pours, but it doesn't matter. You grab him by the throat and slam him into the ground. No hesitation, no mercy. Because that's what the rage is for, to make you more than human, a god of war in a man's skin. And while others fight to win, you fight to become. By the time the sun is fully risen, the village is silent. The smoke now rises from burning rooftops. Your breath slows. Your arms are sticky with blood. Some of it is yours, most of it is not. The rage fades, but the silence is worse. In its absence, a strange stillness creeps in, not guilt, not sorrow, but something cold and empty. You are not a hero. You are a weapon. The smoke still curls in lazy spirals from the wreckage. You stand at the edge of the burned village, your body cooling now that the blood has stopped dripping and the screams have faded. The high is over, and in its place comes the ache. Your limbs feel heavy, trembling under the weight of adrenaline's departure. The gash in your side begins to speak in pulses, hot and wet. Your skin stings where flames licked it, where blades kissed too close. You taste it on your tongue. Your jaw aches from clenching. The berserker's rage was your armor in the storm. Now that it's gone, all that's left is a man, a broken one, a hollow one. You walk through what's left of the village, and you begin to see what your fury blinded you to. The shattered pottery, the overturned cradles, the blood not just on warriors, but smeared on doorposts, dragged through straw. You step over a fallen goat. A child's doll lies nearby, hand-carved, its face scorched. A tiny wooden smile blackened by flame. You wonder, was this her home? You don't stop walking. You can't. The silence is louder than the screaming ever was. Other berserkers gather near the trees, some still panting like wild animals, others quiet, lost in the smoke of aftermath. One stares into the fire, unmoving. His hands shake, not from fear, but from the absence of fury, like a drunk waking from a blackout. Another picks at the blood under his fingernails. A third simply weeps, hidden behind a rock. The war chief says nothing. He doesn't need to. This is the price you all pay. You remember the stories the skalds told around the hearth of the glory of Odin's warriors, of the strength of the bear, the cunning of the wolf. But they didn't speak of this part, the part that comes after. When the beast slumbers again and leaves the man behind to remember what he's done, your clan calls you blessed by the gods. But it doesn't feel like a blessing now. It feels like being emptied. And worse, you know the rage will return. Next time, it may not wait for the enemy. Next time, it might rise in the night, in the long winter dark, when you least expect it. That's the truth of the berserker's path. Glory by day, ghosts by night. The battle is over. The smoke has thinned. The corpses lie quiet, picked over by crows. And now, with your axe strapped across your back and the distant wind hissing through the trees, it's time to return home. But there is no quick road for a Viking berserker. You travel by foot with the rest of your warband. The long march begins with silence, a shared exhaustion in every step. Your boots sink into mud. The cold clings to your skin, seeping into your bones, while the smell of iron and sweat lingers stubbornly in your furs. There are no songs on the journey back, only the rhythmic crunch of snow, the grunt of heavy packs, and the distant howl of wolves, hungry and bold in the shadow of your fading fire. The path twists through dark woods and over frost-bitten streams. Your hands crack from the cold, blood still crusted in the lines of your knuckles. Your lips split as you drink from your water skin, stale, half-frozen. Every night, you gather around small fires under star-brick skies, speaking little, staring into the orange glow as if searching for the faces of those who didn't survive the raid. You remember one, the youngest of your group, with hair like straw and a grin too wide for war. He fell near the shore. Cut down too fast, no one speaks of him now. You carry his knife at your side. The days stretch endlessly, each one blurring into the next. Hunger gnaws more deeply than wounds. The provisions run low. You chew dried fish, hard as wood, and sleep on damp earth. And still, your mind circles back to the rage. You wonder, did you say something while in the trance? Did you scream? Did you laugh? The others won't say. Perhaps they saw something in your eyes they'd rather forget. When finally the smoke of your village appears on the horizon, your legs nearly buckle. Home, the familiar thatch roofs, the low plumes of chimney smoke, the sound of dogs barking in the wind. But you do not rush forward, because returning home doesn't mean returning whole. The long road has taken more than distance, and though the hearth awaits, you carry things now that the fire cannot burn away. Still, you walk. You always do. Home again. The village greets you not with cheers or parades, but with nods, with silent glances from shadowed doorways, and the quiet acceptance of those who know what it means to leave and return. You walk past familiar fences, worn timbers, and livestock too lean for the season. Children peek from behind their mothers' skirts. They stare, not with admiration, but with a quiet, almost fearful curiosity. You do not blame them. You make your way toward the forge, the heartbeat of the village. It's there, tucked between two weather-stained huts, where the old blacksmith still tends the fire. He does not look up as you approach. He never does. His arms are sinewed from decades of hammering steel, his skin freckled with old burns. The forge is hot, the coals glowing a steady orange, the rhythmic clang of metal ringing through the crisp morning air. You stand there in silence for a while, your breath misting, watching the sparks rise into the gray sky like fireflies. Finally, he speaks. Your blade? You nod. The axe is heavy as you lay it across the stone slab beside him. The blood is gone, but the edge is chipped. The wood, cracked, the spirit of it, tired. He inspects it with reverence, as if it were not just a weapon, but a companion. He doesn't ask what happened on the raid. He doesn't need to. He's seen enough men return to know that the steel always remembers what the soul tries to forget. As he sharpens the axe, he begins humming, a low tune, older than either of you, carried through generations like a whisper. And then, after some time, he leans close, lowering his voice so only you can hear it. There's a way to remove it, he says. The rage. You don't respond, but your jaw tenses. He continues anyway. My grandfather spoke of a place, deep in the north, where the sea freezes, and the sky bleeds color, a stone circle, sacred to those who walked before us. They say the Berserker spirit can be given back if you offer something greater in return. You scoff quietly. Another story, another superstition, but still, something inside you stirs, that ember of curiosity, that flicker of doubt. The blacksmith sets the newly polished axe before you, its edge gleaming in the morning light. You've earned the right to choose what comes next. You take it in your hands. The weight is familiar, like shaking hands with a ghost. You thank him with a nod and turn away. But the story follows you, trailing behind like smoke on the wind. And deep down, you wonder, could the rage ever truly be undone? The sun dips low behind the treetops, casting long shadows across the village. Smoke rises from chimney holes, curling into the dusk like whispers of the day's work exhaling at last. The scent of roasting meat drifts through the air, boar, perhaps, or hare, if the hunt was kind. Your stomach clenches with a quiet hunger you hadn't noticed before. You walk slowly to the gathering hall, little more than a long hut of timber and thatch, its thick doors creaking open with a push. Inside it's warm, dark, lit by oil lamps and the glow of a central hearth. The fire crackles softly, its flames licking upward, casting shadows that dance across fur-clad walls. The feast is not a royal spread, not here. Wooden bowls hold thick stews of root and barley. A slab of salted fish sits atop each trencher, the skin crisped. There's mead, of course, honey thick, spiced, passed from hand to hand in shared wooden cups. Laughter hums at the edge of hearing like wind through pine trees. You find a place near the fire across from a woman with calloused hands and sharp eyes. A weaver. She nods as you sit and passes you a hunk of black bread without a word. Someone begins a song, low, slow, old. One of the morning songs, sung softly rather than shouted, a story woven into verse. You don't know all the words, but you hum along, the rhythm embedded in your bones. Children giggle in corners, unaware of how fragile this piece is. Elders watch the fire in silence, faces worn like weathered stone. You take slow bites, chew without rush. The stew is thick and earthy, a taste of survival, of dirt and smoke and root vegetables pulled from frost-hardened soil. Your eyes wander to the flickering shadows near the walls. For a moment, just a moment, you imagine the ghost of your rage standing there, watching you, waiting, not with menace, just presence. Like a wolf just beyond the firelight, not growling, just breathing. Someone pours more meat into your cup. The fire crackles again. You lean back against the log bench, exhaling long and slow. And in that small, fleeting moment, full belly, warm hands, distant song, you are not a weapon. You are simply human. Night has blanketed the land now, vast and deep, with stars scattered like silver runes across the sky. You step outside the longhouse into the hush of a Viking night. The air is crisp and the wind is stilled, as if even the trees are holding their breath. Somewhere in the distance, an owl calls. A slow, mournful sound, not warning, just watching. You tilt your head upward and take in the night sky. No torches, no city lights. Just the raw, ancient darkness and the soft hush of your breath. You've heard stories around the fire of Odin, the Allfather, who gave up his eye for wisdom, who hanged himself from Yggdrasil, the world tree, to learn the secrets of the runes. His dreams, they say, come on nights like this, in fragments and symbols, in the breath between sleep and waking. You curl beneath your cloak, lying on a bed of pine boughs and wool. The fire nearby has dwindled to embers, its heat gentle now, more memory than flame. You close your eyes, but you're not fully asleep. You see a tree stretching into eternity, roots tangled with skulls, branches scraping the stars. You see a wolf's yellow eye in the darkness, a raven's feather falling slowly to earth, never touching the ground. You hear whispers in Old Norse, not words, but shapes of meaning. They curl through your mind like smoke. In the dream, you are walking barefoot across ice, unbothered by the cold. Ahead, a great hall of gold and ash flickers in the distance, and outside it, 9 shadowed figures sit silently in a circle, waiting. They have no faces. Only runes carved into skin, glowing dimly. You approach, and one of them raises a hand. You wake before it speaks. The wind sighs through the thatch above you. The fire has gone cold, but the dream lingers, soft and strange, like something placed in your hand just before it vanished. You do not understand it, but you know it was real. The day begins gray and heavy, with clouds pressing low like wool hung over the sky. A quiet tension sits in the village like frost on leaves, not fear, but reverence. Today is no ordinary day. Today is for the gods. You rise slowly, your limbs stiff from the cold and the memory of strange dreams. As you step outside, the air smells of wood smoke, damp moss, and something else, iron, sharp, and metallic. The scent of blood, not fresh yet, but soon. The villagers gather at the sacred grove. There, beneath ancient trees heavy with mist, stands the old altar, a weathered stone blackened with age and past offerings. Men, women, even children stand in silence, each holding something, a bowl of ale, a bundle of herbs, a small carved figure. The chieftain leads them in a low, rhythmic chant. It is not sung for ears, but for gods. A goat is led forward, its breath steaming in the morning chill, eyes wide but unresisting. The Gothi, the priest, stands beside it in a cloak dyed red with previous rites. In his hand is a knife so old the handle is worn smooth. He speaks to the gods, Odin, Thor, Freyr, asking for strength, for good harvest, for protection. And then, with a swift and practiced motion, the offering is made. There is no cruelty in it, only tradition. The blood is caught in a ceremonial bowl, a black bully, and the priest dips a bundle of twigs into it. He walks among the people, sprinkling them gently, letting the droplets bless their hair, their hands, their clothes. You too are marked, a warm speck of crimson landing on your brow. You feel it not as violence, but as connection. To the earth, to the gods, to the long line of ancestors who stood here before you. Afterward, the goat is roasted and its meat shared. This is no dark ritual, but a feast, a communion. Ale is passed from horn to horn. Laughter returns to the grove, quiet at first, then fuller, warmer. Children chase one another through fallen leaves. The sacred and the ordinary blur into one. As night falls again, you sit beneath the trees, belly full, heart strangely still. The flames crackle nearby, casting long shadows of antlers carved into wooden poles. Somewhere a skald begins to sing, not loudly, but just enough to carry on the wind. You close your eyes to the sound of runes being remembered, of gods being honored, of your soul, somehow becoming part of something older than memory. And once again, the world slows. It begins not with horns, but with silence. You wake to tension in the air, no singing, no chatter, only the hushed rustle of leather, the clink of mail, the dull scrape of blades against wet stones. The fire is already burned low. You see warriors seated around it, eyes downcast, lips tight. A raid is coming, or worse, someone is coming for you. The shield wall is no place for dreams. You rise, your body already aching from the anticipation of battle. Your tunic is damp with cold sweat. The thick wool of your cloak does little to calm your nerves. Around you, men are fastening belts, tying up braids, checking that their axes are not dulled, that their shields are strong. Your shield is round, wooden, painted in worn red and black spirals. Its scarred evidence of previous blows deflected, and when you hold it close, the edge presses against your forearm, familiar but unkind. It's heavy. So is your sword. But neither is as heavy as the dread in your gut. Soon you are standing in the mud, shoulder to shoulder with the others. 100 men, forming a solid wall of wood, iron, and muscle. You hear only breathing now, your own and theirs. Deep, controlled, as if you could slow the passage of time with will alone, and then the first cry. Not your sigh, but theirs. A scream like thunder, a roar meant to break courage. You hear it, but you do not move. You tighten your grip. You place your shield edge just so, touching the man beside you. You wait. Then suddenly, they are upon you. The crash is like a wave slamming into rock. The jolt shoots up your arm, wood splinters, metal screams. The smell of sweat and blood hits you like fire. The weight of it all, man, shield, axe leans in hard. If one of you stumbles, the wall breaks. You do not stumble. You push and push again. This is not glory. There are no clean duels, no elegant swordplay. Just mud, blood, and bodies. The shield wall is a meat grinder, a grinding crush of limbs and leather and shouted curses. You taste iron in your mouth, not from your own blood, perhaps, but someone else's. You hear a scream close by. A man falls. His space must be filled, or the wall collapses. You step sideways, shield raised. You press your back foot into the muck. You endure. Minutes stretch. An eternity passes. And then at last the enemy breaks. A horn is blown. Not victory, not yet, but retreat. The men on the other side scatter, their cries thin and disjointed now. You do not chase them. That is not the way. You stay still, barely breathing, waiting for the order to fall out, And when it comes, your knees buckle. Your arms drop like lead. You look down and realize you're covered in blood, not all of it your own. You blink, you breathe, you survived. The shield wall held, but you are changed. The battle is over, but the pain has only just begun. Back in the longhouse, the fire burns low. Your limbs are trembling, not from fear now, but from fatigue. Your body is slick with dried sweat and blood. Every inch of you aches. Not just from wounds, but from strain your shoulders scream from holding the shield aloft. Your legs feel like water. Your grip is gone. The healer waits by the hearth. She is not young. Her hands are weathered. She doesn't smile. You sit on a low stool beside her. She works in silence. No soft cloths or warm baths here, just cold water, harsh rags, and herbal paste that stings like fire when pressed to your cuts. You flinch. She doesn't pause. Her job is to keep you alive, not comfortable. One gash beneath your arm is deep. Not fatal, but angry raw. She cleans it with bitter-smelling herbs, mutters words under her breath charms, perhaps, or curses. You can't tell. There is no sleeping through the night. Every time you shift, the dried blood cracks. Your ribs ache when you breathe. You lie on a straw-stuffed mat, listening to the snores and groans of your brothers in arms. One is moaning softly, he lost a finger today. Another hasn't moved since he lay down. You're not sure if he's asleep or dead. Sleep is thin. It flickers in and out like the firelight on the thatch above you. Morning brings little relief. The pain is sharper now, and the bruises have bloomed into deep purples and yellows. The cold is sharper too, now that your body is weakened. There's no choice, you must rise, eat, and begin again. A warrior doesn't rest long. To rest too long is to weaken, and the weak don't last. The scars that form, those are your only reward. Ugly, jagged things, they itch as they heal. You do not complain. They are proof of survival, of pain, of honor. Later, the blacksmith jokes that he can carve your grave rune now, just in case next time you're not so lucky. You laugh, but your ribs hurt when you do. That night, you dream of the shield wall again, the pressure, the noise, the silence before the storm. You wake with a start, breathing hard, hand reaching for a sword that isn't there. And you realize there is no healing from this, not really. Only more scars. Night falls again, but this one is different. The enemy was pushed back, the village saved. You're alive, and that alone is cause enough to feast. The longhouse glows with flickering torchlight and hearth fire, casting soft gold across the carved beams and packed earthen floor. Men crowd inside, shoulder to shoulder, their laughter hoarse, their faces bruised but smiling. The scent of roasting meat cuts through the usual heaviness of sweat and smoke. You follow it like a starving dog. You sit on the bench at the great table, splinters poking through your woolen trousers. A roasted boar turns slowly on the spit, fat sizzling into the fire. Cabbage stew bubbles in an iron pot. Wooden platters groan under the weight of smoked fish, dried sausage, coarse bread, and barley porridge thick as clay. A horn of mead is thrust into your hand before you can ask for it. It spills on your tunic, but you don't care. You eat like a beast, so does everyone else. There are no manners here. Just hunger, and the bone-deep relief of still being alive. The skald begins to sing, voice rising like wind in the rafters. He sings of the fight, not just today's, but battles past, heroes long dead, names etched into memory and rune. Your name will join them, perhaps, one day, if you die well. Someone slams a hand on your back too hard, and you nearly drop your cup. It's a warrior from your shield wall, laughing so hard he chokes on his mead. You laugh too, even though the bruises on your ribs throb. The pain doesn't matter tonight. A girl dances near the fire. She wears beads in her hair, and her feet are bare on the cold floor. Her eyes find yours for a moment, curious, fleeting. But she's not for you. Not tonight. Maybe not ever. Still, you watch her move, and you remember what it felt like to be young and whole, before the rage, before the scars. The feast rages long into the night. Mead is poured again and again until the fire blurs and the music feels like a tide pulling you under. Men fall asleep at the table. Some vanish outside. Others stay, swaying to the music, singing nonsense. You stay too. This might be the last night of peace for a long while, and you want to remember what it felt like to be warm, full, alive. Dawn comes cold and gray, creeping across the sky like a sullen tide. The feasting is over, the mead haze has lifted, and the drums have started again. You wake on a sheepskin near the longhouse hearth, your throat dry, your limbs aching from more than drink. The war drums are studding out low and deep, like a heartbeat echoing through the earth. They're not for dancing today. They're for blood. A quiet tension crackles in the camp. Men move with purpose, sharpening blades, fastening armor, whispering prayers into clenched fists. Even the dogs are silent. You stand and move through the frostbitten grass toward the clearing where the berserkers gather. There's no formal priest, no polished altar, just a ring of stones, a few carved runes in the dirt, and the sacred fire flickering in the wind. You strip off your tunic until your bare chest meets the morning cold, an old ritual of purification, and proof that fear will not master you. One by one, the others join, chests bare, eyes blazing. Someone slashes the head off a black rooster, an offering to Odin, a symbol of battle luck. Blood spatters the ground. You don't flinch. Then comes the scent-bitter herbs burning, something sharp and pungent thrown into the flames. You breathe it in, deeper and deeper. The others do too, and that's when it begins, the slow rising of the rage. It isn't sudden. It coils inside you like smoke creeping through wood-hot, invisible, inevitable. Your heartbeat pounds louder than the drums. Your breath shortens fast and ragged. Your vision narrows. Every part of you feels like it's vibrating with hunger, with fire, with the old, cold voice of the gods whispering just behind your ears. Someone howls. You answer. The circle becomes a storm of bodies, chanting and swaying, hitting fists to chests, grinding teeth. You feel your soul slipping sideways, falling into that place where the world turns red and pain means nothing. You are no longer a man. You are a beast in a man's skin. Your brothers, equally transformed, roar with you. The war band is ready. Berserkers unchained. There is no turning back now. Soon, there will be blood. But in this moment, under the pale sky, with smoke in your lungs and rage in your belly, you are something holy, something feared, something born for this. The longships slice through the gray waves like blades, oars pulling in perfect rhythm. The creak of wood and the rush of water, the only sounds that mark your passage. Salt stings your lips, cold wind lashes your face. But you feel nothing, not fear, not doubt, not even the chill. You are in the red mist now, the berserker trance. That strange, terrifying state where everything sharpens, and all that matters is what comes next. Raid, pillage, survive. Your longship nears the coast, a small village nestled along the edge of the fjord. Smoke curls lazily from its rooftops, chickens scatter. A dog barks. You see them, the villagers, tiny, scrambling figures on the shore, some running, some too shocked to move. Their lives are about to be torn open like cloth. No horns, no warning. Just the crash of hull to sand. Then you're up, leaping from the prow with your axe raised high. The cold water bites your thighs, but you drive forward, roaring. Others hit the shore beside you, a storm of fury and metal. The first strike is pure instinct. A man with a pitchfork, too slow, too afraid, falls with a gurgling cry. The second is faster. The third is a blur. Your axe moves like it has its own hunger, cleaving and crushing, hacking through flesh and bone. Your arms are soaked. You can't tell if the blood is yours or theirs. Screams fill the air. The village is burning. Roofs collapse. Livestock scatter into the forest. Somewhere a child wails, lost in the smoke. But your ears are dull now, ringing with the pulse of battle. Your body no longer feels pain. A sword grazes your shoulder. You turn and swing before the attacker can scream. Your brothers fight alongside you, some laughing, some crying, all roaring like beasts unbound. And yet, through it all, some small part of you watches from deep inside, detached, cold, wondering if there's a cost to being this thing, this creature of rage and death. But the battle is not the time for questions. Only the dead ask questions, and you are not dead. You are a Viking Berserker, and this is your sacred work. When the flames die down, the village will be ash, the longships will be heavy with spoils, and you still breathing, still burning, will sail home beneath a sky that doesn't care who lived or who died. Only that the strong survived. The sea glistens black under a cloud-thick sky as your longship glides homeward. Smoke from the burning village still lingers in your nostrils, mingled with the scent of blood-soaked wool, salt, and ash. Your axe lies at your side, still stained, still humming with the echo of violence. But your heart, now that the red mist has faded, is quieter, exhausted. The oarsmen chant in low, guttural rhythm, pulling you back toward your hall, toward warmth, food, mead, and stories. By the time your feet touch familiar soil again, the night has fallen, and within the timber-bird walls of your chieftain's longhouse, the fires blaze tall and hot, spilling gold and orange across the floor. The benches are lined with warriors, bloodied and bruised, but grinning wide. The air is thick with roasted boar, fresh bread, and the tang of fermented honey. Scalds pluck lyres in the corner. Meat sizzles. The dogs snap up bones beneath the tables. You take your place near the head of the hall, where the chieftain nods to you with approval. A servant girl thrall, perhaps, pours a hornful of mead and hands it to you with lowered eyes. Your hand shakes as you take it. Whether from battle or cold, you no longer know. And then the feast begins. Meat is torn from the bone. Jokes fly across the fire. One man pulls open his tunic to show the gash he earned in the raid. Another boasts of how many he cut down before they fell. The youngest among you listens wide-eyed, dreaming of his first true raid. And the skald sings low and slow of the gods who watch all men, and of the Valkyries who choose the worthy. The fire pops. The shadows flicker. You laugh, though you don't know it what. You eat until you can't anymore, and drink even more than that. Mead spills down your beard. You feel it dulling the edge of memory, the weight of what you've done, of what it took to come back alive. The faces of the fallen blur and dissolve like frost in the fire's warmth. You stare into the flames. They dance and writhe, just like the village roofs did, just like the rage in your heart still smoldering. Around you, the voices rise in rough harmony, singing of Thor's hammer, of Odin's eye, of great battles and greater deaths. You are no mere man. You are a storm wrapped in skin, a weapon tempered by war, a Viking berserker feasting on victory, drunk on blood and honey. And somewhere in the embers, you think you see the gods watching, silently, waiting, later, when the fire has burned down to glowing coals, and the longhouse is thick with snores and silence. You lie back on the wooden bench, wrapped in a fur cloak still heavy with the scent of sweat, smoke, and war. The mead dulls your body, but your mind drifts. You stare at the rafters above, dark and crossed like the ribs of some ancient beast. The flickering light paints ghosts on the ceiling figures of gods and giants, of dragons and shield maidens, of ships with sails like wings. And as your eyes grow heavy, you drift toward dream. In your sleep, the wind howls outside the walls, but you are not there. You are somewhere else, somewhere bright and cold, with sky so vast it steals your breath. You stand upon the meadows of Asgard, weapon in hand, beneath a banner of stars. Golden halls gleam in the distance. Warriors laugh as they wrestle and spar beside an endless feast. Their wounds are gone, their hearts are light. No pain here, no fear, just glory. In eternity, Valhalla, it calls to you. You walk through the grasses, barefoot, your limbs light as smoke. There's a woman there, tall and cloaked in raven feathers, a Valkyrie. Her gaze meets yours, and for a moment, you feel known seen not as beast, not as brute, but as something deeper, something chosen. But then the dream dissolves. You wake to the bitter cold of morning. Your mouth is dry as bark. Your limbs ache with the weight of 100 bruises. Around you, men groan and stretch, rising slowly from sleep. The fire is little more than ash. Your furs are damp with mead. Your beard smells of wood smoke and blood. Outside, snow has fallen, softening the hard world beyond the walls. And the dream, already fading, leaves behind only a single thought. You are not in Valhalla. Not yet. The longhouse stirs with slow groans and crackling joints. Outside, the dawn is a cold breath on the world, the sky a pale gray bruised with blue. You rise stiffly, muscles tight and sore, bones heavy from the cold and the weight of yesterday's battle. Your feet touch the packed earth floor, still cold, still unyielding. A distant rooster crows, hollow in the wind. You step outside, fur cloak wrapped tight, and the first bite of the morning air hits you like a slap. Your nostrils sting. Your breath becomes a cloud. The village is waking. Smoke rises from squat chimneys. Livestock shuffle in their pens. Children with wild hair dart across the frozen ground, chasing a wooden wheel. Their laughter echoes, sharp and thin, cutting through the silence. In the distance, the sea crashes and calls like a god that never sleeps. You walk past other warriors emerging from their huts, some still drunk, others already sharpening blades. A few mutter prayers to Thor beneath their breath, gripping pendants shaped like hammers. The world is quiet, but it's not peaceful. It never is. You drink water from a wooden bowl. It tastes of smoke and the cold. Your tasks await, mending a damaged shield, preparing for the next raid, tending to wounds. A tooth aches. Your ribs are bruised, but there's no time for softness. And beneath it all, a feeling you can't shake, the memory of that dream. The golden hall, the Valkyrie's eyes, you're not in Valhalla. But maybe, just maybe, today is the day you take one step closer. So you lift your axe, you shoulder your pack, and you walk into the wind, back into the cold, into another day as a Viking berserker, brutal, raw, and utterly alive.